Exercise. For loop. Exercise objective. Create an exercise of the for loop. At the end, we should observe the following. We're going to create the for loop project, so click on File, New Project, select Java, Java Application, and click on Next. The project name is for loop, and the location is Lesson 5, and click on Finish. Create the for loop test.java class, so right click on the project, select New, and Java class. The class name is for loop test, the package name is test, and click on Finish. Modify the code, the package name is test, the class name is for loop test, and we add a main method. We create a variable called limit equals to 10 of type int, and we define the for loop. In this case, we write for int counter equals to 0, counter less than limit, and counter plus plus. We can see 3 sections in this for loop. And if this loop is executed, we will print the counter and close the for loop, close the main method, and close the for loop test. So in this case, we can see the 3 sections. The first section, we declare the counter, in this case the variable int counter equals to 0. So we are not declaring the counter outside the for loop, but inside the for loop. After that, we have the expression counter less than limit. If this is true, the for loop is executed. If it's false, the for loop ends. And after the for loop is executed, the counter is printed. And after that, the counter is increased. These are the steps that are executed when using the for loop. We execute the project, right-click on the for loop test class, select Run File. And we can see the result. In this case, the counter goes from 0 to 9. We now create a second version of the exercise, add a new class. The class name is for loop test v2 in the same package, the package test, and click on Finish. Modify the code. The package name is test. We import the scanner class and define the class for loop test v2. We create a main method and we ask the user, enter the number of elements to iterate. We declare a variable max elements of type int. We initialize the scanner object to read the data, and we read the value provided by the user. Using the scanner object, the method nextInt, and we assign the value to the variable max elements. And we declare the for loop. In this case, we declare the counter. After that, the condition counter is less than max elements, and if that is true, we execute the for loop. In this case, the counter is printed. And finally, the counter is increased using the plus plus operator. And we check the condition again. If the counter is less than max elements, the for loop is executed and the counter is printed to the console. But if the condition is not true, the for loop ends. We close the main method and we close the class. We execute the class for loop test v2, right click and select Run File. And we can see enter the number of elements. If we provide the value of 4, we can see that the counter goes from 0 to 3. So this is the result of executing the for loop. In case of problems, remember to write every line of code. Do not copy and paste from the ebooks. Only in case of problems, you can always use the documentation or the result projects that we give you in each exercise to check any problems in your code. Exercise conclusion. With this exercise, we have implemented the handling of the for loop. The for loop, unlike the while loop, we can see that it has already defined sections to facilitate the initialization and the increase for the counter, and thus facilitate the progress of the for loop. In this way, if we need a more compact code, we can prefer a for loop instead of the while loop, because the while loop requires more control to avoid infinite loops. With this, we end the topic of loops in Java.